All right, I'm in. People are on. What's going on, everybody? Scott, you were numero uno very early before I'd even started the stream, which is mighty, mighty impressive. What is it? It's 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning here. Not a bad way to start the day, if you ask me. Fire away with any questions, lovely humans of the internet as well. I'm doing great, yeah, man. I had a ragdoll show Friday night that was pretty good. And I was vegetating yesterday, hanging out with the cats. So just doing stuff around the house. And yeah, it's been good. Been pretty good. Been jamming on this thing at home heaps as well, which is like really, really fun. These are pretty good, especially this second voice on here. Can I demonstrate the subtle difference on the stream? Yeah, there you go. Oh, Scott, I'm very glad that off-the-cuff comment hit. we were chatting about it afterwards. It's like, yeah, that you can tell I grew up near the ocean with that one, right? It was like every summer, there'd be local residents are advised that a giant whale carcass is floating around in the general vicinity and a lot of sharks have been sighted. Oh, no, it's just a BC Rich guitar, ladies and gentlemen. Scratch that. Yeah, it's that and what were we talking about with that one? Oh, we're talking about the ESP Forest. Yeah. It'd be interesting to know, especially for anyone watching, like the good, the bad, and the ugly BC Rich, because I feel like I'd love to get a Mockingbird at some point. I think they're a very cool, underrated guitar design. What else? You know what? Let's actually do this. Let's look at. Surely there's some website, like all the different models. You know what I mean? List of BC Rich guitars on Wikipedia. This is exciting. I wonder if they're going to have photos with them. They don't. So that's one big drawback. BC Rich Archives. This is an interesting one. Let's see. Can we bring this up? These look like all current production guitars. BC Rich. Where are all the BC Riches? Let me see. I guess it's probably going to just drive me to their current website, right? Let's see. Oh, here we go. I'm just going to look on Google Images. You know what I mean? So, I mean, look. How does everybody feel about the Warlock? To me, is like when I think of BC Rich, that's what I think of. Oh, here we go. Ah, this is handy. I'm going to drag this image in. There we go. I think this is from their website. Let's do this. This is kind of fun. Present is what I want. Oh, man. I've got to open up my system settings. Come on. What is going on here? Ah, I see what's going on. Yes. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I was not prepared for this. Okay, whatever. I can't drag that in. Maybe I can do this instead. Let's take this image and download it. And then I can drag it in. That might be the way to go. And that might not mess with my system settings too much. Let's do this. Surely this will be fine. No, it's not doing it. Well, that's a big letdown, isn't it? The Eagle and the Mockingbird are it for me. Yeah. The Mockingbird I'd really, really like. The Eagle's pretty cool. I like the Warlock, but with the traditional like 6-in-line headstock. Had a BC Rich Mockingbird Pro. Satin Black, Floyd Rose, yeah. That sounds like the one. So I like the Summer Beard. Yeah, going for the Kip Winger, like slightly more than 5 o'clock shadow. Even though it's winter down here. So my face is very cold. Lyric Bread, hey bro, how are you? I'm good. Chilling out today. BC Rich tends to be Warlock, Warbeast, Ironbird, Mockingbird, Assassin. Older stuff out of production is the Aria Wave Bass and the Araya. That's right. The Zombie. Yeah, let's see. I wish I could drag this image in. Oh, you know what I'll do? There's an easy way to do it, isn't it? I'll take a screenshot of it. There we go. Let's drag this guy in. This is the way to start the day, apparently, talking about BC Rich, of which I do not own any, but maybe I should. Maybe that would be a vibe. Here, let's do this. Please work. Oof. Yeah, the heat I can deal with. Heat and humidity is always a bit much. You all whinge about guitar prices. If you're a lefty, you're up for at least another $500. Well, that serves you right for making a poor decision when you started, right? I kid. You know, yeah, Yep. They need to open the Leftorium for guitar players, right? Ned Vlanders had the right idea. Flip-flop pink Warlock, original US one. I mean, that's it. That's what I want. That's what I want, Scott. That's the way to go. So check this out. We can add this. So let me do a very quick rundown of. Let's start with the ones I think I would gravitate towards for me. You know, so look, Mockingbird I think is awesome. Like it's got that curvy Explorer thing going on. It looks like an Explorer started going to a lot of like Zumba classes and started wearing those like ass-hugging tights. The Ironbird is cool. I mean, Eagle also is pretty cool. The Bitch is pretty cool as well. I like the 10-string ones particularly. The Beast and Son of Beast are like getting towards the too much category for me. I think the thing that gets me with BC Rich, or maybe the thing that turns me off some of them, are like the upper horns that are like that. So like if you see a Beast, yeah, it's the combination of curvy bits and pointy bits is a little inconsistent, I find. The Zombie, yeah, I mean like the upper horns on the Zombie, you know, cool. Like that would strictly be a cool thing to play if you were in like, you know, a horror punk band or a metal band or something, but the ergonomics of just sitting around and playing it. The ASM and the exclusive, you know, the gunslinger like the CC DeVille thing I think is pretty cool. The Widow is, yeah, Homer Simpson designs a car, as we would put it. The Wave is an interesting one. Don't know how to feel about that. The Warlock with the pointed headstock I like. I like that a lot. That's got some vibe. Yeah, man. The Stealth, I think Troy and I were saying, looks like a Pokemon. Man, there's a lot of like, it's wild that they have so many different shapes, yet they still have a pretty recognizable brand identity. You know, think of PRS doing that Herman Lee thing where people are like, it's not a PRS because it doesn't look like a PRS. Like they've got the one shape, which is their shape, right? And then BC Rich have like every other shape ever invented. So yeah, the Warlock with a regular headstock, but it's a 94 NJ. They were meant to be pretty good, right? The NJs. And, you know, they were one of the first companies really doing, I guess to me, the early BC Rich stuff, like especially the Mockingbirds and stuff like that, with like the through neck construction, all the switching, like sort of the guitar version of Alembic, where it's like not just boutique, it's like they're really, really, really pushing it in terms of like, well, what ways are you allowed to play? What ways are you allowed to build a guitar? There's a lot of other ways aside from just a set neck or a bolt on, right? So I appreciate that. I only played a BC Rich Ironbird. That's cool. Yeah, the through neck ones are the only ones. I agree. Yeah, I think it's got to be, especially with the multiply like maple walnut. That's a vibe. That's a vibe. I dig that. Which one would you choose? An Ibanez Prestige or a Fender Ultra 2? I think you're going to be happy pretty much either way you go. The styles you're probably into are going to dictate more than the actual like quality of the instruments, because they're both very high quality guitars. I mean, I've got a Strat Ultra 2 here, which I really like. The Ultra 2 is almost like, it's funny, right? The Ultra 2 is like the most Ibanez Fender you can get. And then the AZ is like the most Fender Ibanez you can get, if that makes sense. I mean, probably not really. Probably the AZ's trying to do more the Sir kind of thing. I think it's both of them sort of doing the Sir Anderson style thing. So I think if you're like more a shred head, you might like the AZ a little bit more. And if you're more like, if you want a Strat, you know, then get the Ultra 2 because it's a Strat, right? And thank you, Ethan Dugan. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you for the kind words. I will say, Bonnie, I'll just come back to your question. See if you can find a used Ultra, what do they call it, an Elite? Is that the one that I'm thinking of? Fender Ultra, because they have stainless steel frets on them. And a buddy of mine has one, and it's pretty fantastic. But the compound radius board and stuff like that on that. Sorry, not the Elite, the Ultra Luxe. That would be, I think, a better comparison because it's got stainless steel frets on there. They're really, really cool guitars. A buddy of mine has one, and it's like, yeah. Like I said, it's the most Ibanez Fender that you can get. Or do neither and get like a Telecaster, right? Be a man, play a Telecaster. All right, where are we in the next thing? Mick from Arkansas. Where are you in Arkansas, bro? One of my favorite shows that I've ever played was in Arkansas, in Eureka Springs. We actually did 2 nights there. Loved that place. That was such an unexpected little gem. That was really, really, really cool. I got a lot of fond memories of playing those shows. I'd love to go back one day. It's like the most it reminded me of Switzerland. Have you seen a Guild X79? I have, Scott. Yeah, man. That's a pretty. Let me bring that one in. Guild X79 for anyone playing along at home. Let's do that one. The Skyhawk. I saw a guitar the other day which was shaped just like a crescent moon. It was a Japanese company. Let's save this. No, let's do what I did before. I'll take a screenshot of this. Yeah, the the X79s, man, are like wild. Absolutely wild. They look like something out of the Jetsons. They've got that like smoothness that a BC Rich doesn't. All right, let's do this. I'll drag a couple of things in so we can enjoy this. So this is going to be the Guild X79, ladies and gentlemen. And then we'll drag the Moon guitar in. Telecasters have some great tunes under their guitar straps. Never knew you went to Eureka Springs, a few hours from me, resort town closer to Memphis here. Oh, okay, cool, yeah. This was in 2013. Yeah, we were there. We were in the States for 10 weeks in 2013, so we played a lot of places. But yeah, that was magic, man. They treated us so nicely, and the people were great, and the town was beautiful, and yeah, it was unreal. Yeah, we're slowly getting there, Wiz. So I'm dragging all the hardware in now. So I was a bit bummed because I bought, I got a bunch of the racks set up, and the thing that I used to switch all of them, the Switchblade, I hadn't turned it on for maybe 6 months. And of course I turned it on and it didn't work. So I've got to take that to get serviced. Hopefully it's just the power supply and somebody can sort it out. But yeah, I was like, and I made the mistake of wiring everything first. And I was like, right, now I just got to turn this thing on and program it. And yeah, bop-oh. But yeah, I think once I get that going, then I'll be able to go, whatever amp I want into whatever load I want into whatever effects I want, which is pretty cool. Adlerberg, hey man, finally got the VOCs from the Nazi. Okay, that's nice. Well, a month worth of work probably isn't the nicest thing, right? But I'm glad that's all sorted. So I wanted to mention, saw the Gear podcast earlier today. What a blast that was. Rag on lots of horribly shaped guitars. It was so good. I'll watch it again. I appreciate it. We were like, okay, people are either going to love this style of episode or absolutely hate it. So yeah, maybe we'll have to do another follow-up where we look at even more things. And I hope the Homer Simpson designs a car metric works its way into guitar reviews. This is a good one. Nexus Claire. Over the years of playing guitars, do you prefer flatter radius guitars more? Talking about 15-inch above. The only one that I can think of in that category, I don't think I have anything with that flat. Like 12 is more than enough for me. I think I've even got a couple of guitars with 10 where it's fine. But I'm into the compound board thing now. Like the Meteora and the Strat Ultra have the 10 to 14, which is really nice. I played a chillier Strat at the Melbourne Guitar Show that was 12 to 16, I think, which is awesome. I really like that. I think this is a 12 to 16 as well. So, yeah, I think if I was having a guitar made from scratch, I'd go for like a 12 to 16 stainless steel frets. It's just easy to play. Setting up a wet, dry, wet rig this weekend with a Halo core delay and a UA Golden Reverb. Yeah, bro. Nice. Cannot go wrong. Cannot go wrong with either of those. Amazing delay. Fantastic. The UA Golden is the best pedal they make, in my opinion. Just look up Bob Hall guitars. Well, we've got the Guild X79 for ladies and gentlemen who enjoy the big... What does it look like? That also kind of looks like a Pokemon. Yeah. It looks like it would be comfy to play sitting down because of that bottom curve on there, right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. Bob Hall guitars. Okay, we're doing it. I think I know what we're talking about. Homer Simpson designs a car. Let's see. This isn't coming up. Ah, yes. Yes. That's the one. Here's a guitar. Oy. Okay. I don't even know if I want to drag that in. That's slightly terrifying. Oh, maybe that... No, what is this? Sorry. This is a Hallmark swept wing that's come up. Yeah, I can't see any photos of the Bob Hall stuff either. This just came up with this weird, like, you know, the Gibson reverse flying V kind of thing. That's what's coming up now. Interesting. Well. We'll have to keep looking, won't we, Scott? Do some intel and see if there's some photos of them. So yeah, I'm glad everybody enjoyed that Gear Podcast episode. It was really fun. That just I can't even imagine what this would look like. I'm so curious now. They're rare and probably for a good reason, yeah. Have you tried a Fernandez BX70? No. I've tried some 80s Fernandez stuff, which is really nice. BX70. Oh, that's cool. Pointy Explorer is the perfect way to describe it. Yeah, that's awesome. I like the slightly smaller body. It almost reminds me a little bit of the Futura. The thing that looks like you drew an Explorer from memory, but it doesn't have the big upper bout on it, which is cool. Yeah, there's what's the model? Fernandez. They had like a Strat style thing. I think it was the Function series. Anyone ever see those like Clapton style Explorers where they've cut the bottom bout off? Those things are pretty divisive, hey. Hamer Scarab is a big one. Yep, well aware of the Scarab. Sammy Hagar played one. I have seen those photos. Yeah, the Hamer fan club I spent a lot of time on because I've got quite a few Hamers. I don't have as many. I have sold a few over the years, but obviously the standard that's sitting up here, and then I've got what do I have? The Californian, an Artist, a Sunburst, and I've got like a Les Paul Junior style. So I still have 5 Hamers, back when you could buy them for like a packet of Magic Beans, because, you know, they didn't say Gibson or PRS on the headstock, and now they're like impossible to find, you know. Everyone who's wanted one has gone and got them. So, yeah, I had a Chaparral and a Vintage S. One of my friends owns a Vintage S now. That was just kind of like basically a Valley Arts. Very, very cool guitars. Valeno guitars. Let's see. Let's have a look. Oh. Man, that looks like like, you know, dudes that only do like chest and shoulders at the gym. That's kind of what that looks like. That's definitely a design aesthetic. So Glenn Tipton had some very sweet Hamers. Absolutely. The Doyle von Frankenstein is the worst, and I'm a big pointy. Yeah, that thing's it's so pointy. It's got points on its points. The Hamer Duotone, yeah, that was a cool. Again, like, how do you get an acoustic and an electric sound? Very cool hybrid. Washburn A20. This is fun. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Yeah. Big Hamer vibes on that, especially with the double. Is yours like a sunburst with double cream, Scott? That's cool. Oh, man. Nice. Yeah, I don't have an Iceman, but Cam, our drummer, has like a split mirror. He is a massive, massive Kiss fan. I mean, you can't really be a casual Kiss fan, can you? You're either like a lifer or you're not. But yeah, he's got the like split mirror or cracked mirror Iceman. It's pretty amazing. I want a guitar that looks like a Romulan warbird. That'll be, I'm sure it's out there. Black with gold piping. Ooh, nice. Nice, man. I'm going to play a song for you guys, I think. Oh, someone mentioned the Ravel. Yeah, Dave Kushner from Velvet Revolver. That was, he had a signature Ravel at some point with the sustainer and stuff. So bought my Duotone from Bob Seger's guitarist. That's cool. Very, very cool. Carlos Cavazzo. Yes, he was in, what was it? Like one of the, was he in Quiet Riot? Is that what I'm thinking of? But wasn't there like two Cavazzo brothers and two Sarzo brothers, and like Rudy and Carlos were in a band and then the other brothers were in a band? Yeah, okay, Quiet Riot, cool. I retained my 80s metal street cred for another day knowing that one. Sweet, man. Did you get the HN6? Like the one with the Fishmans? And this is really, really great. I have this set up in Drop C at the moment, and it's sick. The others were in Hurricane. There you go. There you go. That's, he was in Quiet Riot and much later Ratt. Yes. I feel like 1990 to 1994 was just hair metal or glam band remix. Like, you know, Warren DeMartini did a little bit of Whitesnake. Carlos was in Ratt. Michael Schenker was in Ratt for like 3 minutes, which is wild to think about. Ronan Lone Wolf, sweet, man. What color did you get? Because this looks very purple at the moment, but like it's kind of, they call it ultra gold. So yeah, there's like a goldy, reminds me a little bit of the finish I've got on my Petrucci 7. So, but yeah, the neck on this is like, basically I have this set up in the lounge room so I can watch TV, and I've got a wireless and a little practice amp, and I can drive my wife absolutely nuts because I'm watching something on TV and just sitting there going, you know, just absolutely blurting bad legato out. So, yeah. The Ravel, that was a guitar made for Paul Stanley. That is a cool fact. Yeah, man. DeMartini is just great. Just amazing. He had the touch, you know, like George Lynch had the touch, DeMartini had the touch, Sykes Sykes has passed away now, which is sobering, but you know, they all had the touch, didn't they? And they had the mad chops as well. So, yeah. And that I love in that song as well, like the modulation into the guitar solo. So the riffs like D hair metal, and then the solo modulates down a tone. But as you come out of the solo, it goes back up to D, right? And my theory of this is I'm pretty sure that was a Beau Hill track, and Beau Hill loves a whole tone chord change into the last chorus, but I imagine maybe Piercy just couldn't do it. Not the world's greatest singer. Had a great character voice for Ratt, but yeah, drop the solo down a tone so when you come out of the solo, it sounds like it's a key change back up, and you get the big 80s soul change, but really just going back to the original key, which is very, very clever and a great way of working around your limitations. Man, Invaders was the first... No, it was the second Maiden song I heard, because the first one I heard was Rime of the Ancient Mariner on a 411 video magazine skateboard thing. I was watching, I was like 13 or 14, and my dad walks past, he goes, "What's this? This is awesome." And I was like, "I don't know, I'll look in the credits." So apparently it's Iron Maiden. He goes, "Oh, Iron Maiden, I'll be 5 minutes." Rifles through CD collection, pulls out The Number of the Beast and Seventh Son of the Seventh Son. He's like, "Here you go, listen to Iron Maiden, they're great." And then, yeah, put it on, you get Invaders straight out of there. So even Iron Maiden doesn't like Invaders. Mark, you're my hero. I'm currently in a strip club and I'm still hanging. Well, mate, there you go. It might be a bit weird for all the patrons who are there to see you that you're on your phone, like watching a live hang, but man, you do you. Can't argue with this logic at all. I recognize that profile picture. How are you, Tim? What's been... are you working today or are you at home today? I imagine the torture never stops, right? When it comes to fixing gats up. That's cool. Very, very cool. Was that... I know there's like various incarnations of Ratt. For Ratt, I like Body Talk, one of their heavier... Yep, very, very cool. Fixing up that Hofner, man, that's a Ratt, very, very... the weird stuff you see in life pop up, hey? So, for anyone wondering, Tim's fixing up a guitar that was made of a broken... I think it's like a Hofner neck that my dad owned, and then he built another body for it. This was like 30 plus years ago. And so basically like built a guitar for a mate of his, and then 30 plus years later takes it into Tim's place to get set up and fixed up. So that's actually wild. This is awesome flattery. I'm in a strip club, but I'd rather watch Leon Todd's live. So yeah, in all seriousness, if that's actually what you're doing, like I've peaked. I've achieved everything I've ever wanted to achieve in my life, and things that I didn't even know that I wanted to achieve in my life. Man, I did not know that. Nothing surprises me anymore. We opened for Karabi, actually. He was pretty cool. Did his like acoustic thing. Just like told, it was like 50%. So when I was hanging out with this member of Kiss or Iron Maiden or Motley Crue, and 50% actually singing and playing songs. He's got a great voice. I really like the Scream album he did with Bruce B.A. and Al Doretti. Did you meet Karabi's guitarist? No, because it was literally just John solo. John and the promoter were traveling around doing it. So yeah, unfortunately didn't. The Karabi Motley album isn't bad. The Scream album is awesome though. If anyone hasn't heard that, it's basically Racer X with John Karabi, but without Paul Gilbert. I guess no Scott Travis. So it's Bruce Bouillet playing like hard rock music, and Bruce is amazing, man. His playing on that is so good, and there's some very, very good songs on there. Lost Me with Theatre, but won me back with Girls, Girls, Girls. Yeah. I mean... Mick's guitar sound is just like sick. It's so good. Leon, can a 100 watt amp, for example, exceed its wattage rating? Look, first, thanks for the super chat, man. I massively appreciate it. It says, is this a new studio? I'll answer that in reverse. Yes, we moved at the end of last year. So this is one of the bedrooms that is slowly getting terraformed into a music space. So I need to put a cloud in. I think that's the next thing I need to do in here to take a bit of the early reflections out of it. But I've got big, thick curtains up in here. I've got a carpet down on the floor. And just like having stuff in the room has helped it a lot. But yeah, I put a bunch of guitar hangers up. I've got, a bunch of the rack stuff and amps in here now, which is cool. And yeah, I've been working in here for... When did I get my desk in here? Maybe in February? Because, yeah, we bought the house and then we had a holiday to the States booked. So we did that. Then we got back. Then the house all settled. Then it was Christmas. And then I did like 40 shows with Club Cabaret for Fringe. So that was 6 weeks. And then, yeah, it wasn't until like basically March where it felt like, okay, I can start thinking about getting stuff in here. So, yes, that is the first one. Can a 100 watt amp, for example, exceed its wattage rating? My very, very surface level understanding of this is that yes, it probably can, especially something like an old Plexi. And I feel like Stephen Frayette did a video about this recently. Let me find it for you. Where he basically actually explains this stuff very, very well. Let's see. Frayette. I think it was a thing he did with Henning. There he goes. Henning Pauly Out of His Mind. That's the name of the video. I think it was just like sort of his response to Henning frying a power station. Here we go. So yeah, he explains this way, way, way better than I think I ever could. And it's a really good... I mean, Steve is a guru for a reason. And he's exactly... The way Steve is in videos is exactly the way he is in real life. I got to hang out with him when I was last in the States. And yeah, he's just a lovely man. And just very, very smart. And very, very good at what he does. And the channel's great. And yeah, he sort of talks about how guitar amplifiers... How power works with guitar amplifiers. So... Yeah, I think if you had a Marshall 1959 with everything all the way up and you had a 100 watt cabinet and you played it for a few hours, you're probably going to blow something up. That's, and you're just playing consistently for that long, you're going to run into some issues. So, yeah, that's my very surface level understanding of it. I'm going to play something for you guys. Yeah. Yeah, so it's depending on how you measure the, peak versus RMS. Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it. Do you need any more floor space? I recently discovered their guitar closet hangers as well. They work well on guitars that don't have telly-style headstocks. Great. I've actually got, so that wardrobe there, I've got a bunch of guitars in there. I got like a Gravity 9 guitar stand that is literally the perfect size. Like it's the perfect fit in there. So... Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What could possibly go wrong when you're just like blasting something for 10 hours? Like tube amplifiers have thermal properties? Who knew? The Joyo Bantamps, I really like them. Yeah, I think the Zombie's the coolest one. I like what's the Marshall one? The Jackman as well. Yeah, I've got them. I've got them here. They're like, man, I would have killed to have one of those back when I was doing a lot of like regional touring here, where you have to freight gear. Just being able to like take a little amp on the plane when you fly out to like a remote site and plug it into a cabinet would be great. Henning gets mad when I'm as mean to him as he is to others. Yeah. The Babbage Bridge made man, I forgot all about the Babbage stuff. They were like we're talking like 10, 12 years ago, they were sort of like the hardware of choice, right, for a lot of things. Interesting. Hey, Tomo, have you had to set up a Vega trem or had any guitars with those? I'd be keen to hear your thoughts on those, because one of my students has one that's pretty cool. Yes, that was mostly the takeaway from that Fryette video is like, be on the safe side, kids, especially if you're going to be blasting stuff for a long time. Have you heard Joe Holmes' new song? Yes, Joel, have you been on the stream before and were you telling me about this on a previous live stream? Because I feel like I checked it out and, man, Joe's a great player. Amazing. Yeah, what did you think about the Vega, Tim? Always keen to hear your thoughts. Have you tried the Celestion G12 Vintage? They're the ones in the Marshall 1960 Vintage cabs. I certainly have. I've got a free IR based on one. Troy has them in his 1960 BV. In fact, if you listen to Ragdoll Back to Zero, that cabinet is the cabinet that we use for that. So that entire album is a bunch of different amps run through that thing. I really like them. I think they work for the high gain stuff. Where were we? I'm going to play something for you guys, actually. I'll play you guys some Ragdoll. How about we do that? Because I'm in drop C. One more question. Want to replace a D'Angelico semi-hollow. All right. There we go. Yeah. I mean, I think I've circled that way around too with Gotto, where it's like, you know, everything I've got with, like, the Gotto trems are great. The Gotto locking machines are great. I've got them on a bunch of guitars. I think my favorite non-locking trem is actually the one on the Tyler, which I'm fairly certain is just a Gotto. If Gotto aren't ghost building it, then it's the same specs. You know, it's yeah, they do really, really nice stuff. Hey. I use a Hendrix tuning drop acid. Users are advised that results may vary from customer to customer. All right, I'll play you guys Sky's Limit, because we did a show on Friday night, and we were gonna play this, and we ended up playing a bunch of other stuff and had some guest singers up and caught up with some old mates, and then we were like, do we have time for one more? And it's like, yeah, the curfew ended 10 minutes ago, so yeah, I'll play it now where there is no curfew. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let me start that again. Here we go. Oh, that's fun. That is a fun song to play. Especially the... I can split these pickups, can't I? That chord especially, that's like... Ah, that makes me happy. Oh, getting carried away. I should go back to some questions on here, shouldn't I? Music needs more soft sections. That's tight wiring of the fluences, yeah. It's not the biggest cavity in here. Like, I wish they had the rechargeable back on there, but, battery cavity is easy enough to deal with. Easy enough to do that. Whiz. Saw the Vongo and Ultra Shear lurking in the background. I tell you, still rate it. I've debated giving it a shot for a while. Anything you can't cop in the Axe effects. I mean, it's like a bit crusty sounding. I think that's what's cool about it. And it's a couple of knobs and, I find having a dedicated vibrato where it can only do vibrato and you can't like dial out the wobble is kind of fun. So yeah, I think more for... I actually kind of like it more on like synth stuff and as a little piece of outboard gear than anything else. It just looks great as well, right? For anyone doing about this, they're like having a pedal that's wood. It feels more like a piece of modular gear or something. But the reverb in it sounds great. I think they just straight up copied the old Lexicon 224 concert hall algorithm. So it's like, a lack of options can sometimes make you just commit to sounds on there. So... yeah, when's the new album out? Oof. Your guess is as good as mine at this point. So I'd like to put a few more singles out, actually. We've got, I think, 7 or 8 songs, basically everything tracked. We need to go and record the vocals. So, yeah, maybe the end of this year when we have some time, when I'm back from the UK and we can sit down and, like, knock a few more things out. We're still struggling to... like, we were on the way to the gig on Friday, and Ryan was like, man, it's like we haven't played Sky's Limit for a while. I don't know if I can get through it. He's like, I tried practicing it, and, like, the muscle memory's gone. So, yeah. Now, what's the action like? I think this, when I measured it, is like a 1.5. This is pretty low on this one. I normally... The Tyler setup is... I think it's like 2 on one side... all the way down to like 1 and a bit on the high side. So yeah, it's low. It's low. Actually, Tim, if you're still here, you can probably tell people what the standard action is on my guitars, especially the ones I've had plecked by him, because that's a nice thing where it's like you get all the data and all the measurements. You don't have to be rough about it. What is the best sounding budget modeler? Ooh, what's the qualifying factor here? Let me have a good think about that. I think the New X stuff is pretty great. But, now there's a bunch of budget capture stuff as well, like that does the capturing thing really well. I think between the New X and the Hot Tone stuff, Hot Tone's slightly more, it's budget, but it's not quite as cheap as the New X stuff. I think if you don't want to spend much money, the New X stuff has the best sounding little models. If you can spend a bit more, the Hot Tone stuff is great. I really like what they're doing. Hills is it online orders only? I think it's online orders only, yeah, which does restrict stuff a little bit. So, ever tried a Strandberg? Yes. Played quite a few. I think the first one was an 8-string in Japan, like a master built or whatever they call it. That was nice. That was actually really, really nice. The Enduroneck thing, I hadn't even heard of, so I picked this thing up and I was like, "What? This is like it's like playing a piece of wood. This is crazy." Yeah, the Ampero is really, really good. I've got the Stage, which is awesome. Do you have a plectrum rotation you go through? Yeah, I just go through these until they get too blunt, and then I mean this one's more on the blunt side, so yeah. I have like a few hundred of these that I just work my way through. I don't really change too much stuff. Except for tracking rhythm guitar, the green Dunlop Tortex, the .88s, they sound good. Here we go. There you go. Strap with a 7.25 radius, 1.7 to 1.2, 52 to 10s, lower action on the Gibson PRS, yeah. The green PRS Custom 24 that I have is like superhumanly low. That thing is amazing, and it like doesn't buzz. It's some actual wizardry there. The Strandberg being like a cricket bat is that's the best analogy I've ever heard for the Enduroneck, Dukes. That's exactly it. And I played a lot of cricket as a kid, so maybe that's why it felt at home. I'm gonna grab what am I gonna grab? Let's put this aside. Actually, I think this one's still in drop C, so I can play some ragdoll stuff. Oh, it's all happening. Let's see how. I haven't tuned this since the gig, so. It's pretty close. That's not bad. That's been in my car and a gig bag, and it is. The G string's a little flat. Man, it's so funny going from that thing with the fluences to this with like kind of, you know, more traditional style humbuckers in it. Let's see. Have you guys ever played a neck flatter than 16 inch? Yes, one of my students has a Mayones with like a flat fretboard. Man, it's fine. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh, this thing's nice. How does my wife cope with guitar noises? There's a reason I have a dedicated room for playing music in. Because, yeah, having to listen to... for 8 hours a day is not the most pleasant thing. Yeah, exactly. Oof, Colin, straight raw dogging that SV20. That's the way to do it, man. They sound pretty good that way. Pretty good. I mean, you know, this is doing it right, Mark. There you go. Fantastic. I've never used one of the Randall ISO cabs, actually. The ISO cab thing's interesting. I used to do a lot of recording of guitars with the cabinet in another room, basically just covered in tontine, so sort of like an ISO cab, but very... nowhere near as enclosed, right? You're still in a room. There's still a little bit of room sound in there. So I really liked that. I think trying to record anything with like a 4x12 in a room is just a non-starter, right? You need it. You need to have the control room and the main thing separate. which is one reason why I love playing a modeler so much, because you're like, oh, I don't even have to mic up the cab. That part of it's just taken care of, or using a load box and IRs, which is why I captured an IR of my main cab in the room with the mic setup. It's like the best tonal decision I ever made, because then I've got that sound. But yeah, the ISO cab thing, yeah. I remember, obviously, they were all the rage, I think, pre-load box and IR, which is understandable. But yeah, you can see so many bands who used to have the like cabinets on stage, but an ISO box mic'd up backstage, are now just using either a modeler or they're using a load box and IRs, because it makes way more sense, way easier, and you're not going to less freight. You know, the microphone, if it like gets bumped around during the gig or during transport, you got to open up the cab anyway. So if you can dodge a kitchen plate in the house, you can dodge a frisbee coming out of the dark. Nicholas Rivera, my man, how are you? What do you think about the Mark VII? I haven't even seen one in Australia yet, bro, so I would like to try one. But yeah, it sort of came out and there was a big fuss about it, and then I've heard like nothing about it. Unlike when, say, the Mark V or even the JP2C came out, that was like they came out and then there was a lot of demos, and then a lot of people like, oh, hey, did you know you can do this with the amp? And it's cool, and I compared it to my real 2C and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know, it's an odd one, hey. Like, it'll be interesting to see in 5-10 years what they're doing in that regard. So I mean, now they've got the 2C Plus reissue, so they've just gone full, like, we are now a nostalgia brand. How predictable is the Behringer Centaur price? Oh, man, yeah. Like, on the long list of things I don't care about, like the whole Behringer Centaur thing is, yeah, chalk that one up on there. Do you ever use VST instruments like Nembrini plugins in your DAW? I like the Nembrini stuff. Their MP1 plugin's great. What do I have? I've got the Nolly X plugin, the Neural DSP one I really like, and Spark and Reaxis by Mercurial Audio, I think are really good. Anytime I'm playing in the box, it'll either be like, yeah, one of those or just Neural Amp Modeler is really, really good. You know, create captures of your own amps, or Tone X is really good as well. I've got a bunch of Tone X profiles, so yeah, there's a lot of that stuff going on. Yeah, KDH did a good video on the Behringer. Yeah, I mean, that whole side of guitar YouTube, which is like, it's just not my thing, you know. I'll leave it at that, and I'll let people read between the lines, you know, the whole like gear drama, brand drama shit. Like, who fucking cares, man? You know, like, are people really that non-discerning where they can't tell like what is and isn't bullshit anymore? Like, are we really that like not together? Obviously, because people watch those videos, you know. so yeah, it's and what's the phrase I'm looking for? Media literacy. Yeah, it's definitely something that should be ingrained in the education system, so that kind of stuff, you just kind of like, yeah. Imagine being loyal to a corporate entity that only wants your money. Amen, Scotty. Imagine any type of brand loyalty to something that has just built its reputation on cloning designs. Hey, and look, the Behringer XR18 is one of the best pieces of gear like ever released, because it's affordable. If you're a touring band who wants to mix your own in-ears and have all that kind of stuff, we've got one. It was a good price. It's been pretty reliable. I can't complain about it. It has saved us so much time and heartache and money. But it doesn't mean like I want to, you know, that like, oh, Uli, be my daddy kind of thing. You know, it's just like, it's a good product. You know, it's a good product. You spend your money on it, and it works. The end. That's all it should be. You know, this idea of like a brand needing to be a lifestyle brand. Like, you know, yes, I have a Les Paul Custom that I absolutely love. It's a great, great guitar. Do I disagree with a lot of like Gibson's business practices and pricing? Absolutely. That's why I bought an old one. So, yeah. Yeah. What was this? Yeah. Like, you know, critical thinking, good. It's, I feel like I was quite fortunate growing up where a lot of the teachers and mentors I had were like, man, if you only have one skill, like try to think. And critical thinking doesn't mean that you just immediately distrust everything that is like, oh, well, you know, that means I'm actually, you know, like you can be a non-critical thinker in many different ways, you know? So, yeah. Michael Torin is here. Here we go. How are you, man? Are you back home or are you still overseas? So, and what is coming in the mail next? LT TV mix is that greenbacks. Yes, I've got a 1960 TV, I think from the 90s or late 80s. I need to date it. But yeah, it's just like the stock 25 watt reissue greenbacks and that. They're totally fine. One sounds heaps better than the other three. The cabinet itself sounds decent, but there's one speaker on there which sounds really good. So yeah. What do I think about single coil EMGs? I am into them. They're a sound. I have a Super Strat that I maybe want to put the Lukather set in. Yes, I think they're like if you want to do the Lukather thing, if you want to do the Lukather thing, you want to do Red Beach EMGs, beautiful. The Gilmore thing as well for that, you know, momentary lapse of reason and division bell tone, I think is really cool. They obviously don't sound like a 50s or 60s Strat pickup, but they have their own thing going on. And if you treat them as their own thing, like I wouldn't put them, say, in my 70s Strat. I've got the Sir MLs in that, and I think those pickups are perfect in that guitar. But, you know, like in a different Strat. This is why everyone should own like 5 or 6 Strats, right? When are we in Melbourne next? I don't know, but I was over there in March for the guitar show, and we were considering putting a show together around that. So, yeah, maybe the next Melbourne guitar show at the latest. That'd be pretty cool. I'd go there like 6 times a year if we could afford it. You know, it's my favorite place in Australia to play, and so many great bands and so many great people and loads of mates there. So yeah, we were last there in May doing the Yngwie tour, and then we had a night off, so we did a DJ set at a bar, which was one of the best nights I think I've ever had on tour. That was so good. So good. How do you normally run your Fractal? Do you run into a power amp? I just run direct. Yeah, when I first got one, I started running it into a power amp, and then you know, I just got lazier and lazier as time went on. So yeah, straight to front of house, out of the monitors, and beautiful. Did Gilmore use lace sensors? I believe he was using EMGs in that red Strat. They're just white EMGs, so they kind of look like lace sensors. Yeah, here we go. The S is a little brighter than the SA. SV, SAV are more vintage voice. SA more like mini humbuckers. Yeah. I do have a set, actually, in a Strat that I need to finish restoring, basically. Might do the 24-volt mod on them as well, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, what a ledge. Thanks for chiming in. I actually didn't know the difference between them either, because I haven't tried all of them. So, yeah, let me triple-check the... Because, I mean, there's a Gilmore EMG set, right? I think that red Strat he had... I mean, I just love that there's a website called Gilmorish.com, which has everything you ever want to know about Gilmore's rigs. Let's see. Pulse. Does it have the guitars? Man, his rack during that Pulse tour as well, the Pete Cornish system is just... That looks unbelievable. Okay, so... 1983, 57 reissue, candy apple red older body with a white pickguard, maple neck, EMG SA active pickups with the expander and mid-range controls and a short and tremolo. There you go. That's the Pulse tour, which sounds unbelievable, right? But, you know, he's also got that ginormo rack with 2290 and a racked Univibe and what, a Digitech. Is that the IPS 33, the pitch shifter, and Do you have a PCM 70 in there? I didn't know Gilmore used a PCM 70. That's cool. Now the MXR delay as well, and what looks like a rack-mounted chorus and mistress, I think. Yeah, crazy rig, and that Cornish switching thing is so cool. Yeah, the Pulse thing is just so good, man. All right, you have all motivated me to finish getting that EMG loaded Strat back up again, because the bridge on it was stuffed. So I got a replacement, I think a Wilkinson bridge for it, and then put it on, and like the neck just needs to be shimmed on it. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I think this is going to be the next couple of weeks. I'm going to try to get that thing up and going. I wonder if Michael Toran has everything in the Turbo era Judas Priest racks. Look, I'm not a betting man, but if I was going to bet money, I would almost say that that's probably a probably a safe bet that he does. But it's best with the SPC and the EXG, yeah. Oh, Colin, touring with Yngwie was very interesting. Very interesting. It was look, it's one of the best tours I've ever done. The shows we played were awesome. The crowds were really great for us. Especially the Melbourne show we did. Like, we sold so much merch and we got to hang out with so many people after the show, and that was really great. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I actually breathed the same air as Yngwie at any time, because, you know, he's pretty strict with the backstage requirements with who is and isn't allowed to be anywhere near there. But it was an awesome time. Like, I'm amazed that we got away with that without getting fired, because a lot of people are like, oh man, yeah, you know, he's notorious. So but yeah, that was a great time. Very eye-opening, put it that way. He would have been terrifying in so many ways in '87. Don't shim, sand the neck pocket. All right, I will trust you on that one, Tim. Maybe I'll flick you a message and send you some photos. So, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Only difference between SV SAV is the radius. Ah, there you go. An 81 with EXG fully scooped will be very chunky, even in 9 volts for a Marshall styling. I can imagine, man. I put an 81 85 set in one of my Les Pauls recently, because I bought the Zakk Wylde set like 15 years ago, and had them in a guitar and pulled them out and forgot about them. And I've been going through some old stuff, and I found those. I found some TV Jones Filtertrons that I put in a guitar, which sounds sick. Actually, I should pull that down and have a rip on it. So, yeah. What's the other thing? Hey, here you go. Hartley 1160. Found a Fender lace sensor single coil for the neck. I like, what's the difference in the Fender label ones and the regular ones? Now, this is a good thing. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. So, Scott, put this on a t-shirt and I'll buy one. Chuck Berry is a Chuck Berry of rock. Exactly. Rack-mounted Univibe would have been very cool. Have you seen the Bognar pickups for the Strats that emulate many different guitar pickup sounds? Is that the thing Paul Davids did a video about? Because a bunch of people sent me that video and I haven't watched it yet, because I thought it might just be him using the tone control and being like, wow, the tone control on a guitar. Guys, have you ever heard about this thing? Isn't it amazing? So, but apparently it's not. So maybe I should watch the video. Man, me watching YouTube is like, if someone sends me guitar stuff, it takes me a long time to actually watch it, because I'd much rather be watching the 100 funniest cat videos on the internet. Can it heaven above? I mean, this definitely can, right? I should have mentioned as well, this is really interesting for a, and I'm just realizing now, actually, both of my semi-hollows, like this one and the old 335 I've got, have stainless steel frets on them. And I really, really like it because normally you play a guitar that looks like this and it's very averse to silky, shreddy kind of playing. But yeah, Tim Williams Guitars here in Perth did a pretty amazing job bringing that 335 back to life. That is just like, the frets on that are so nice. So nice. And then same with this, the Chillia. This is a beast. I'm going to pull the... let's hear the TD Joneses, man. Let's hang that one up. I mean, one of the advantages of having a lot of guitars is being able to do stupid things to them. So the core DGT that I've got is an amazing guitar, and I will never touch the... I think the pickups in it are also... Like, everything about it just works, right? So it literally requires zero modification. And then the SE is really good as well, but I was like, well, you're kind of doubling up, right? You know, if you're going to pick one of them, you're probably going to pick up the core. So when I found... Long story short, a buddy of mine was doing some guitar building like 15 years ago before he went back to uni and became a quantum physicist, very, very bright guy. But he had a dealer discount with TV Jones. So I bought some P90s and I bought some Filtertrons, and I forgot that I bought the Filtertrons because I didn't really have a guitar that I wanted to put them in at the time. And so I put them in this, and I mean, let's start with the least Filtertron tone possible. So, I mean, it can do high gain really, really well, and it's not too noisy. I mean, I know I've got a gate on the Axe effects, but still. Do you have gold foils in anything? No, but that's a very, very good point. I probably should, shouldn't I? That'd be super fun. Was I a Silverchair fan? Not at the time, but I mean... I've come around, especially to Diorama. Like, Diorama is a great, great album. I'm actually, small world, being Australia, I'm friends with the guy who engineered that album, which is kind of wild hearing about how they got some of those guitar sounds. Like, a bunch of the electric sounds are Dan John's Maton acoustic plugged into an SLO 100. Because he wasn't interested in guitar sounds at all. He was way more interested in the piano and the orchestral stuff at that stage. So it was like, oh, just, I wrote all the songs on this, so I'll play them like that, which is pretty crazy. Do many bands play in Alice Springs? No. As you can imagine, it's probably easier to play on the Moon. I mean, a lot of bands don't even play in Perth, and Perth is a major metropolitan center, and Alice Springs is a small town in the middle of nowhere. Have you tried Tone Rider pickups? Yeah, they do some good stuff. Great value for money. Like the Filtertron thing to me really, really comes to life with a Marshall style thing, right? Let's do this. JCM 800 model. I'll turn my vocal mic off so you can hear just a bit more of the splat you get. Like that sound I really, really like. And then also the other sound with Trons that I really, really like is bit of the old springy reverb and trem, right? Even just a clean, you know, that. It's like a fat Strat. Actually, they'd be pretty, like 3 Trons in a Strat would be a vibe. What's the Fender Telly thing they did? The La Cabronita that had, like it was a Telly with Filtertrons basically. Was that what it was called? For Bud, that was for you, mate. Yeah, definitely the Chet Atkins vibe with the Trons, right? A Dan Electro Longhorn, no, but I'd love to just get a Dano style at one point and set up for slide like Jimmy Page. That's definitely baked into my brain. Yeah, the gold top crane, and you know, I put gold knobs on it as well, just so it's totally leaning into that Art Deco. Thank you, Mario. I appreciate that. Getting like more amps and stuff in, like I was saying earlier, my Switchblade died, so you know I'm doing some manual switching at the moment with it. But yeah, it's getting there. Where are we at? Check your email. All right. This isn't going to be one of those things that promises me not only more length but more girth with one simple trick, right? Mark, that is actually God tier, mate. Like, I cannot believe oh, man. Look, ladies and gentlemen, when Mark was saying he's watching this in a strip club, he's not lying. He's got the evidence to prove it. What a dude. There you go. Get your La Cabronita Telly out then, Mark. Man, just, yeah. Next time I come to the States, I'm coming to Nashville and we're hanging out, all right? No matter what. That's so good. That is so good. I mean, like, the thing I like about Filtertrons, right? Like, you know when you get a distinctly new pickup or guitar style and you can just play, like, a G chord on it? Like, it's just new tones and textures are always glorious. Yeah, Mario, I'm pretty sure that you're correct, and like took the other ones out as well. Well, you only just got the notification, but lucky I'm still on. Welcome, mate. Hope you're having a good one. Started playing Have a Drink on Me right after I sent that. Yeah, dude. Another one for you, Mark. Scott, mate, I'll take you up on that. We can have a couple of coffees and we can absolutely nerd out on that. Got to do right on. Yeah. Or I'm sure actually just given where Mark is at the moment, maybe this is more of an appropriate... Oh, man. Yeah. I forgot I had a phaser in this preset. So, yeah, Mark's having a good time. I approve. Thanks for start playing Funk 49. Lucky I don't know how to play it. Did Sly Stone pass away? I didn't realize that. Far out. Man, 82 is a good run. So yeah, this was just I may as well try him in this guitar, and I'm very, very surprised with how much I like the Trons. They've got that, wherever the resonant peak on it is sort of like a lot higher than I expected. They've got this twang about them. Yeah, Mick Ralphs, man, and Brian Wilson. I feel like my dad loves Bad Company, and he used to play in a band that did this, so I figure I should probably play this. He said as well he remembers buying a Digitech harmonizer so he could play that solo live in his rack with his ADA, which is his old ADA is sitting right here, sandwiched between the other two that I got. So that's a kind of a cool little... Oh, man, yeah, those isolated, dude. Things I never expected I would do in my life. A few years ago, we did this corporate thing where we got booked to do our regular set of rock covers that we do for those kind of events. And sort of like maybe a month out, they were like, oh, hey, could you do a, the event has this kind of like, surf beach theme to it. could you play a few Beach Boys songs as a standalone, like maybe 3 or 4 songs? And we were like, we're a 3-piece rock band and you want us to do Beach Boys? Okay. So we ended up just doing it to tracks. But the tracks that I found, like they had, the isolated BVs was so great. It was amazing. I don't know if someone had cut them from stems or if they just recreated them, but that was a fun gig. We did 3 Beach Boys songs and then we played Wipeout and Cam did a big drum solo. That's how we got around that little doozy they threw at us. Hey. What was the other guitar I was going to play on this? There it is. I was talking about this before. And Tim, if you're still on, this thing is still... Like it's such a, it's got such an odd acoustic tone, this guitar. And then you plug it in. Oh man, it'd be such a fun thing to just do a night of surf guitar instrumentals. We've got to bring that stuff back. This guitar with some chungus is super cool. Where I was like, oh, isn't it so surprising the 335 sounds good heavy? And then I was like, man, Soundgarden, like... Yeah, this thing's a monster. It's really fun. I think a little bit out of tune, but it is a Gibson. These things are to be expected. Yeah, this man, I took this guitar with me to Sydney when I was there for 9 or 10 weeks last year, and I didn't use it for many of the shows, but I kept it in my hotel room, and I played it every single day for like a couple of hours when, I didn't have a lot else to do. So I've grown quite fond of this guitar. Anytime I play it, it kind of reminds me of that room now. It's always the D string. And also, I find bigger guitars a bit comfy as well. So always need a 335 shaped object. Whoever installed that fretboard at Gibson was having a good day. Yeah, it's tell me more about what you had to do to this fretboard, Tim. Bond and Thunderball vibes, yeah. The bridge pickup, I think these are T-tops in here, so they sound pretty cool. They actually sound more like what I expected the Filtertrons to sound like. Put it that style of 335 is known as a burst killer. Yeah, man. One of my friends has a 58. A real 58 335, and it is absolutely a burst killer. That thing sounds so good. Mobius or MD500? Ooh. Now, I think the MD500 is secretly like the best of those Boss 500 series. It's got the dimension in it, which makes it worth it in my opinion. So yeah, T-tops are really bright, kind of like slinky sounding. This one has the coil split as well, so you can really get it. Rhodes was using T-tops, so that's kind of cool. Again, more knowledge flowing out of you, Scott. Things I will now retain That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's interesting with like I guess, a lot of people like 335s for this kind of, let me put a Zen drive on top of this, because that's, this sound there. Yeah, the smooth like Robin 40 kind of thing. So if you do the... which is a really, really nice thing, but having that split on there kind of doesn't really make it sound stratty. It's more like a telly. Oh, that's all right. It was good. So that wasn't that wasn't sarcasm when dealing with the Gibson. Man, yeah, so for anyone who didn't watch that episode of the Gear podcast, Tim's talking about Troy had to do a gig. A couple of gigs actually in the rain, and I think his Explorer and his Charvel got wet, and the fingerboard and the Charvel started lifting. And now the Explorer has had too much moisture in it, so yeah. Had a 72 Medallion V, but had no sustain. Man, it's really interesting hearing stuff about that, like, I guess what people might consider potential holy grail guitars, and then when they're just duds, which some guitars are just duds, The CAE preamp, I never have. I would love to. It's definitely... That's on the list with a real, like, Diatronics Tri-Chorus and a few other little bits and pieces in the Rack universe that I've never had a chance to try. Yeah. Oh, man, that's so interesting. Yeah, sometimes you just get them and they're not great, right? All right, it's actually 12:30 here. I'm going to bounce. I'm going to check on my cats and do a few things around the house. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is great. This is a really, really fun stream. I'll play Rust. That's a traditional thing at the end of these streams, right? I should do that. Let me, grab a guitar and... Grab a guitar that's not in standard tuning. All right, there we go. Let's grab the Chilier. So I'm going from semi-hollow to semi-hollow. Yeah, it's interesting. I think the frets on that 335 are slightly taller than this one. They look like a similar width. I'm just talking to myself now, so... all right. Cheers, everybody. That was rad. Enjoy your weekend, wherever you are. Oh, that is not the sound. All right, I'm going to play Rust, and then I'll say goodbye to everybody and maybe see you all on next weekend or something like that. Let's do it.